Oh my God. I am so happy that this work week is over.
I know.
It was such a long week.
Work has put me in a mood today. I'm exhausted.
Not only work, though, like our piece was interrupted this week.
Yep.
And I think they kind of set the mood for the end of the week.
Yep.
That's okay, though, because we're bigger, stronger, bolder than that bitch. If anybody has questions to any of our podcasts, you can submit on any of the platform applications that we have.
Yeah, we've got 3
Submission.
forms. 3 forms open right now. One is for dating stories. Please give those. Make me feel better.
Both feel better.
Yeah, Lacey had quite the day today too. And then we have our pineapple hotline, relationship dynamics.
Please go in and ask questions for the pineapple hotline.
Please.
Like, we want all the deepest, dirtiest, raunchiest shit you want to know. Because guess what? We want to watch them wiggle in their seats.
We have questions. I'm tired.
I'm tired too.
Anyways, we're going to keep going. So today we're kind of diving into the realities of sexual and physical assault, the gaps in our justice systems, and the conversations that we need to keep having. Speaking of which, last night I went on a police ride along and I was able to see firsthand what officers face and kind of how women's safety sort of plays out in real time. So right now I am on hour 44 of no sleep. Lacey's exhausted. It's going to be a more calm episode, but it is going to be a episode that kind of comes from a place of lived experience by many people, especially women. And as a criminal law student, these issues are more than just academic. They're personal stories from people. They are impossible to ignore. So this is my content warning for the listeners out there. Today's conversation addresses sexual and physical assault, personal safety, and experiences that may be distressing. If these subjects are sensitive for you, we encourage you to prioritize your well-being and step away if needed. So as Lacey and I were trying to figure out what our next topic would be for this episode, we know that we wanted to keep our first season very light. However, this is a topic that kind of hits everybody and it comes from personal experiences and it's very relevant, especially in our day and age. And so we wanted to kind of bring this conversation to the table and just make sure that others out there are not alone. They're not feeling alone. Everyone kind of goes through this, unfortunately. This is a situation where I personally don't feel that women's safety is discussed enough.
It's definitely not. There's a lot that us as women don't talk about because I think it's almost like an embarrassment. We want to be these strong women, but we also don't want to seem weak. And no, it doesn't make us weak, but the mentality behind it makes us feel weak.
And I think as you get older, your perspective on safety also changes because you become more aware of your surroundings. But we decided to kind of do this episode because we have had people in our lives, friends, family, listeners, kind of ask how to support someone who's kind of been through this. And we realized nobody teaches you how to talk about this stuff. And
because it's not a grieve. Like, you're not grieving this. It's a type of trauma that you have to deal with. And nobody ever heals the same. But I feel like there's like that thing that nobody talks about unless it's like with their closest people. Like, if someone passes away, you just never know what to say to them, right?
Like, yeah, you're kind of awkwardly sitting there. I think it's like a grief in a way that you're kind of grieving the person you were before this happened, though, right? Like, that's some form of it. But
I mean, and sometimes it doesn't change that person. It just changes their outlook on things.
And I think it's an awkward thing too to talk about with your friends because the person that is hearing the story, they don't know how to receive it. They don't know what the right words are to say. They don't know, like, do you want a hug? Do you not want a hug? Do you want sympathy? Are you over it? Like, do you want me to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry? Because there's like that awkward, like, oh no, it's fine. Like, it's fine, right? So I think when it kind of comes to supporting your friends, you just need to kind of sit with them, let them talk, let them say what they need to say. Like, don't rush the conversation. It's okay to have that awkward silence. Just because it's silent doesn't mean you need to like rush in there and give an explanation or put words in there. Like, that is okay to just sort of kind of sit. And I would say just stay calm. Even if, I mean, I didn't stay calm. I was definitely emotional and I was not good at that. But I think also for me, that was like, I care about you enough that it kind of like shook me a little bit.
Well, and I think like, I don't know. I've never really had a friend where I've had to go through this with them, right? Like, I honestly don't know a lot of women that have been physically assaulted. So I wouldn't know what to say to somebody. But I think all you can actually really do is just like validate what they've been through, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because like I said, I've never been through it. So
I think you just have to let them set the pace. Like you can't, I mean, you can just say, you know,
nobody deserves to be assaulted.
No.
And I feel like however your reaction is going to be normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think you just need to, there's going to be certain things that they probably don't want to explain yet. They're not ready to. I think you just have to kind of go with their pace. Like how, if they're ready to talk about it, great. If not,
but I feel
give
like
them
if
a
somebody
minute.
is telling you, you need to be supportive. Be like,
100%.
I'm so proud of you for being able to be brave enough to talk about this. Like, definitely validate them.
Because it takes a lot to come out and actually,
like I said, I think I just had so much time to heal over it.
that it's not as big of a deal to you anymore?
No, not anymore. Do not get me wrong. Like we said earlier, going out at night to take out my dog, I'm like, I'll text my neighbor and be like, hey, I'm just gonna go walk my dog quick. If you don't see me back at the camera within 10 minutes, just send the troops out.
Send a search party.
Send the troops out.
Yeah.
I definitely find myself looking over my shoulder a lot more, like when we're walking. Even if we were going to the club downtown and we're walking down the block, I'm constantly looking over my shoulder. I'm trying to walk fast, like be loud, be vocal. I'm definitely not that person that I used to be in that sense.
But I think that's a normal thing as a female. Like we're always a little bit leery of our surroundings. You should be. Anyways, if you're not, you damn well should be.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age, you need to be aware of your surroundings.
I feel like you shouldn't push that person into healing, though, either.
No, that's not. It
has to be on their terms. All you can do is be that supportive friend. Mm-hmm. And whether that means asking them if they want to have ice cream, or if they want to go for a walk or a drive, or like things that you would normally do with that person, but just being in their presence a lot of the time is all it takes to help heal. People need to feel safe after an assault of any sorts, a sexual assault or a physical assault. People just need to feel safe. They need to trust their people, because although it wasn't you or Jane or Tom or, that did it, even though they're your friends, you still, I don't know how to explain it, but you still have that, like, well, if this person can hurt me and they didn't know me, can, like, somebody I know hurt me? And I know that, like, you, per se, wouldn't outright try and hurt me, but in the back of your mind, anybody can turn on you in any second, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so
We've seen it.
It's definitely a healing curve.
And everyone heals differently too. Like not everybody wants to be surrounded by people when they're healing.
No.
Some people just become recluse and just want to like sit in their room all day. I don't know, but I also think you can't let your friends sit in their room all day. Like I mean, you have to also respect it, but I just think as a friend, you kind of have to be like, okay, let's
go do something. Let's go for dinner.
Cycle.
Let's go for breakfast.
Let's go watch a show together. Let's do something. But
you definitely shouldn't tell a person how
to heal.
Well, did you report it? You need to report it. You need to do this. You need to do that. No, you need to give options.
I mean, you can always just say, like, do you need help getting errands done? Do you want me to cook for you? Like, just little things that can also be.
Hey, do you want me to come over and watch a movie? Hey, do you want to start a podcast?
Hey, can you play with my hair?
I feel the best part that you can do for somebody is just showing up for them.
100%.
Whether that's a phone call, whether that's a FaceTime, whether that's you showing up at their door with a blizzard on a cold December night in -40, whether that's, that's very particular, but I can't say I haven't done it.
Oh, she's definitely done. That's what had COVID and I couldn't taste anything. Anyways, doesn't matter, but she's done it. But that's again, like it's just the consistency. It's just be there in any capacity that they kind of need in the interim while they're healing.
Right?
Yeah.
I had an assault. It was a long time ago. I never talked to anybody about it, and I actually recently just found out that like my dad didn't even know about it.
Yeah, I know.
I told so little people about it, I guess. I realized that I talked about it a lot less than I even thought.
So this conversation had originally gotten brought up when we were with a bunch of friends. I think we were having a games night.
It was a girls' night.
Girls' night. And I don't honestly know how this came up, but something came up. And Lacey shared a personal experience that, I mean, we've been friends for 10, 12 years, and I still... Are you getting teary-eyed?
No.
Oh. I heard this story that I had not heard before, and it's not funny, but it was funny, the reaction, because you were like telling it as if it was kind of nothing because you'd already lived it, and everyone kind of stared.
And it had been years.
Yeah,
it had been years. I don't talk about it, so.
Yeah, and I kind of had sat back, and I think that...
Well, and you were sitting behind me, so I didn't even see your reaction.
No, and the
after.
gravity of it had kind of hit me, and I got very teary-eyed, and I get emotional every time.
Teary-eyed? Bitch, you full out cried, okay?
I cried. So, I don't know if you want to get into it, but...
Yeah, I can. So, it was my early 20s anyways. I lived in Fort Macleod, Alberta, and there was a bar there called The Queens, and we worked there. We spent a lot of time there. It was like our scapegoat on the weekends. We had so many friends there. So I smoked cigarettes back in the day, and I worked at a different bar called Moose's, and I had a big catering event that was coming up the next day. So I went to go see my friends at the Queens that night, and my boyfriend at the time took off with another woman to a different city, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go home. And I'm not saying I don't know if he was doing anything wrong. He took off with her, and I was going home because I had to work in the morning. And I pulled my last cigarette out of the pack. I threw the pack in the garbage when I was leaving, and I walked out the door to light my cigarette to walk home because he had taken the vehicle. And there was this guy standing outside when I walked out the door, and he was like, hey, got a cigarette I can bum? And I had a purse on me. And I was like, actually, this is my last one. I'm sorry. Like, I can stand here and smoke it with you, and you can have the last couple drags. And he's like, no, I just want my own fucking cigarette. I was like, well, sorry, this is my last one. I mean, I was a heavy smoker back then, so I wasn't about to give this dude my last cigarette. Like, so he was like, no, that's okay. I'll get someone else. And I continued to walk. So now I'll explain kind of the scenery. So the Queens, downtown Fort Macleod is very historical, and right across the street from the Queens was a bank, and I can't remember what bank it was, but the outside of the building was all like these very decently sized rocks, not like the size of my head, but definitely a handful each rock. And I lived, I want to say, probably like 13, 14 blocks. Like it was quite a walk. And I lived on the other side of the tracks. So I was walking home, and I had called my friend because she was supposed to come that night and visit. Like, she was coming for the weekend, and she couldn't make it for whatever reason. But I was talking to her on the phone as I was walking home, and I had hung up my phone, and those were the days of the flip phones. I had a white, maybe Motorola, I don't know. It was an LG phone. Anyways, I had snapped my phone closed, stuck it in my pocket, and I was holding my purse in my opposite hand, just in my hand. It wasn't over my shoulder, nothing. And it was that kind of year where, you know, the ice gets that like snap to it when you step on it. Like, it's like white ice, not the clear ice. So I was getting close to the tracks. I just crossed onto the block in front of the tracks, and there was a back alley, the tracks, and then we kind of lived in the industrial area. So I stepped over this ice, and I just heard this ice snap behind me. And I was oblivious, like completely oblivious. I thought I was safe to walk home. I'd lived in this town for years prior to this happening, and I never once not felt safe there. And I heard the ice snap behind me, and I spun around, and all I seen was this guy standing above me with a rock over his head. Are you gonna cry?
Yeah, I get emotional every time I hear this story.
And reaction is I didn't know what the fuck to do. So I spun around, and it was like my body froze. I couldn't stop because you're going to make me cry.
Sorry.
You said you weren't going to cry tonight.
I was really holding it in here.
You just freeze.
Yeah.
And so all I could do was kind of protect my head. So I put my hand up, and it was the heaviest feeling I think I've ever felt in my life. This rock hit my hand and my head because it was kind of sharp.
Yeah.
So my fingers were apart because I was trying to protect as much of the back of my head as I could. I didn't know if I was cut open, nothing. And I could see a guy walking his dog like in the distance down a side street. Yeah. And I just started screaming. Kind of at the same time, I pulled out my phone and I just started hitting fucking talk. I didn't care who it called, just I just needed to call somebody.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I mean, it didn't call my friend who I had previously been talking to because she was 45 minutes away. It ended up calling my friend that I left at the bar, who had offered to drive me home, and I turned it down because, like I said, I thought I was safe. And I didn't even get it back up to my ear. I just was screaming, trying to get away from this guy. And he picked it up and he threw it again, and it got me like right in the center of my back, like between my shoulder blades. And at this time I could see this guy and this dog running down the street. And I'm sure this guy didn't let go of his dog because the dog wouldn't have known who to protect. Right?
So he was running towards you?
So he was coming towards me, but he was still like a block and a half away. I could only see his silhouette. And I didn't know what to do. But anyways, so my friend heard me screaming and she came to my rescue. But in the meantime, he'd picked it up and threw it at me one more time. And that time it just kind of hit like my thigh, and I must have been, I don't know, like running or whatever, but it hit like the heel of my foot as well. And at this time the guy had gotten close enough to me that the guy that was attacking me had run away. And my friend, her name was Janine, she came barreling up the street because I told her which way I was going home when I left. Not that I was scared. I don't know. I just said I'm just going to walk up home because it's straight away. And I could see her come barreling up the street, and she just slammed on the brakes, jumped out of her car, and I was just in shock. Like, I didn't know I was hurt. I just got in the car, and this guy was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's okay. Like, thank you. You ran towards me. I appreciate you. And Janine was like, I got to get her home. I got to get her home. I got to take her to the hospital. I was like, I'm not going to the hospital. I work in the morning. I'm fine. Take me home. So we get in the car. And Janine, I can just remember her like, are you okay? Like, let's go to the hospital. I was like, Janine, I just have to go pee. Just take me home. I have to pee. And I was sober. I didn't drink at the bar. I just wanted to go visit my friends. I was like, take me home. I need to pee. So there's a little void that I don't remember. Like, I don't remember. And we were only 2 blocks from my home at this point.
But your body kind of goes into shock. And it's adrenaline to protect you. Right?
Yeah. Like, I don't remember us going from where she picked me up to my house.
Yeah.
I don't remember walking into my house, but I remember sitting on the toilet, and she was on the phone with 911, and she was like, my friend was just attacked, whatever, we're gonna go to the hospital. And I was like, no, we're not. I'm fine. I'm not going to the hospital. I work in the morning. I work really early. Like, I have to cater this event. And I was explaining to her what I had to do. And she's like, well, I guess maybe you should send an ambulance and maybe the cops because she doesn't want to go willingly. And I was like, you know what? Because our healthcare might be free in Canada, but our ambulance bills are not. And I was like, I'm not paying $600 for the ambulance to pick me up at my house and drive me the mile it was to the hospital. I was like, I'll fucking go with you. Tell them we'll be right there. And it was a small town hospital, so it wasn't a big crazy wait like you would in the city. So as we were walking out of my house, at this point I didn't realize I was bleeding. I didn't realize I was actually hurt. Like, my body was still just in shock. And we went to go walk out of my house, and we had like 3 deep steps. Like, they were big steps on our front step. And I remember like stepping down onto from that last step to the concrete on the sidewalk. And I just must have like landed hard on my foot, like just stepped weird. I don't know. And I just got this shooting pain up my neck. And I went to go grab my neck and be like, holy shit. And when I grabbed the back of my head, it was just blood. And when I pulled my hand away and I just seen all the blood on my hand, I was just like, oh my God, you go into shock. You don't realize you're hurt until
you go into shock all over again.
I couldn't tell you if I was actually in pain, but you go into panic mode, right? You're like, well, I'm fucking hurt. I'm bleeding. So like, let's go. Let's get me to the hospital. I'm probably dying now, right? Yeah. So we went to the hospital and I got in right away. And I remember the doctor like cutting off my necklaces, and they were examining like my eyes, and like I was coherent, but I was like out of it. I was obviously severely concussed, and I did end up with whiplash from the first initial hit. I had a chin-sized bruise on my chest from where obviously my chin hit my chest. I had a giant gash on my head, and I had one broken finger, and the other one was just like a sprain. It didn't really hit it. Where the rock had hit was in between the 2 fingers, but broke one of my fingers. And all I remember in the hospital is like getting so mad at the doctor, like, you cannot shave my head. You cannot shave my head. He's like, we will not shave the entire thing. We just need to shave around the wound. And I was like, no, you can't. Like, you can't shave my head. And that's all I remember telling him. And do you think we could get a hold of my boyfriend? We couldn't. Janine stayed at the hospital with me the entire entire time. I had to phone my mom in a different province in the middle of the night and tell her that I had been jumped. I gave a description of this guy to the cops because the cops met me down there. And then once I was cleaned up and whatever else, they let me go. I gave them my statement, and they like had asked me like, would you like to press charges if we can find this guy and whatever else? And I was like, yeah, I do. Like, I got jumped, and I told the cops, I said, I was a bartender at the time, so I made ridiculous tips, and I only took my tips in once a week, typically on Mondays because those were my days off. I had all my tip money in my purse that night. I was carrying my purse in my hand, not even over my shoulder. So like, I didn't understand this guy's motive, because if he wanted my purse, he could have grabbed it and ran and been done with it. And sure, it would have sucked because I think I had like $1,200 cash in there from tips, but he didn't. He not once did he try and grab my purse out of my hand, which is bizarre. Like, even if he wanted a cigarette, because that's how this all started. Like, if I lied to this motherfucker, he could have grabbed my purse and thought there were cigarettes in there. He could have went and bought himself 50 packs of cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, like, so anyways, when Janina left the bar to come and find me, or save me, however you want to word it, all she did was throw her purse behind the bar and ran out the door to her car. And so we had to go back and get her purse. So she said, do you want to go home? She's like, I would actually rather just stay with you. So if you don't mind, we'll stop at the bar and grab my purse and then I'll take you home. And I was like, no, that's okay. Like, I'm feeling okay, like a bit of a headache, but at the hospital I had gotten Tylenol and stuff. So I was like, let's go in. And all my regulars, it wasn't a busy night in there. It was just all my regulars. All the guys at the bar that I worked at go to the Queens. So I went in and we were all just kind of sitting at the table, and everyone was just asking me questions like, what happened? Are you okay? Like, and you know that stupid eerie feeling you get when someone's watching you but you don't know where it is or who it is. I was sitting, and off the table I was talking to my regulars was 5 guys, big farmers, because we lived in southern Alberta. It was all farmers and ranchers. And I looked over, and the Queens had big arched windows in the front, down the whole front of it. And I looked over, and this guy that jumped me was looking through the fucking window.
What?
And I just slowly turned my head, and I kept a straight face, and I looked at the guys at the table, and I said, that's the guy. That's the guy that fucking jumped me. He's back at the bar already. And they, one by one, slowly got up and went out the back of the bar, and they each went around the bar opposite directions to try and catch this guy. And this guy, when he saw them coming, took off. And by then we had called the cops and said he came back to the original location. He is standing outside of the Queens. And they had tackled him. There was a little, like, hotel. Yeah, it was a motel, just kind of on the edge of the highway. They had tackled him in that parking lot and held him down until the cops got there. And the cops took him down. And because I already gave my statement, I didn't have to go down to the cop shop. But they came and talked to me the next day, I think it was, and told me that they couldn't press charges because he was underage. I was like, oh, okay. And then the one cop kind of sat me down and said, you're very lucky. I was like, what do you mean I'm lucky? Like, I ended up with a concussion. Like, my friends basically had to come babysit me on a Friday night. I had to miss work. I spent my Friday night at the hospital. Like, I broke a fucking finger, yo. Mm-hmm. And I'm lucky? Like, explain this to me. And he said, this guy straight out said that he was going to rape and kill you and take you out to the reserve that he was from and dump you in the river because they wouldn't find you. I was like, oh, what do you mean? He literally told you this and you can't do anything because he's underage? And the cop said, that's why he waited so long to come after you, because there was a sound barrier from the tracks, like there was a fence line, and he would have got me behind that fence line, the sound barrier, and did what he had to do. Could have left me beside the tracks, picked me up, and taken me back.
So, but why you?
Maybe because I was an easy target. I was a woman walking alone on a Friday night in a dead town.
See, and I think that's what got me emotional in the first place. And every single time I hear that story, I don't think I get emotional at the start. I get emotional at the ending part because I already have heard this a couple times. I'm like, I know what's coming. But I think back and I'm just like, I don't even know what I would do without you as my best friend, first of all. But that's a reason why a lot of women don't report these is...
It was embarrassing. I'll
explain.
It shouldn't be embarrassing, but let me tell you, to tell somebody that you got jumped, to tell somebody that you had to go to the hospital, to tell somebody that your attacker couldn't even be charged because they were underage, that your attacker straight up said he was going to rape and fucking kill you and dump you where no one would find you. And nothing could be done.
It's mind-blowing, and that's where the gaps in the justice system come in, really. And a lot of people will not report because they're afraid of their abuser. Some women live with their abuser, or their abuser provides for them, right? Like, it kind of all relates.
Some of my family members that listen to this, I don't even know if they know this story. Like, I haven't told a lot of people. And that night at the table, I don't know what made me share this story. I don't remember what we were talking about when I decided to. But there's not a lot of people that actually know this story. And it's not that it's made me not trust men, because unfortunately, I give way too many people the benefit of the doubt still.
You do.
And I try to find the positive in a lot of people, unfortunately. But it's just something that like needs to be talked about more.
It does.
I don't think I feared safety before and I was oblivious to it because I came from a small town. Like, I was a small town farm kid. So we didn't have that. Nothing. And I know everybody says this. That stuff didn't happen in my town. That stuff didn't happen around me. But it really didn't. Nothing like that happened in my hometown until much later on when we were adults.
I think you don't think it's going to happen to you until it does.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. And there is a difference between feeling safe versus being safe. You know, you feel safe because that was your hometown, that was your surroundings, you knew everybody, it was supposed to be a safe space for you. Whereas, were you being safe because you made the comment before to me, like, I was on my phone, I was, not aware of my surroundings because I felt safe, right? And I think we need to talk about how women and young girls learn to be aware of their surroundings, and they learn safety a lot earlier in life than men do. Young women and girls have to be way more cognizant and aware of their surroundings because
we are the weaker species. Essentially,
that's like what we're perceived as.
Yes. I mean, and obviously not many of us women, not that we can't, but not many of us women can take down a man. Let's be real. Like,
well, the reality is that there's a physical difference between a man and a woman, and they weigh more than us. They're more muscular than us. That's their genetic
disposition.
Yeah, right? They're going to have a better chance of taking us down. So we have to learn that. But as a young female, especially a young female with a child, I am more cognizant around my environment. Where I bring my kid, I never have my back to really anything. Even when I was buckling him in, my back was always towards, like, if the door was open, my back would be towards that door so that I could still kind of swivel my head and make sure things were safe around us, right? But that's an example of how women learn at a younger age to be aware of their surroundings. But I think that women also downplay their experiences or their assaults. I personally think that you downplayed yours. I know that you probably had more time to process it. And when you told us, and
I was so calm because I had lived it. I'd been through it. It had been years. It was a trauma I carried with me for a long time. I guess when I tell my friends now, I'm like, oh, well, that was like 15 years ago. So like, that's in my past. Like, I've moved on. It's nothing. But let me tell you, when I step on that white ice or hear that white ice crack now,
it comes back.
It's right there. I get chills. I get the little like goosebumps all over my arms and my legs. Mm-hmm. Like, it's almost like I get that like instant headache, that I had when I got to the hospital that night.
Sensation.
Like, it's bizarre.
That kind of goes into the way your body holds trauma. I very much think that your body holds on to that. But I do think that women downplay it. I know in the criminal justice system, I worked as a criminal legal assistant for years, and
I feel like a lot of women downplay their experiences because they're scared that they're going to lose that battle against that man, and that man is going to hold the power over them. Now, that night that I was jumped at the hospital, yes, absolutely, I wanted to press charges. Now, if you were to ask me a week later, 2 weeks later, I would have been like, well, like, he didn't kill me, he just jumped me, like, he just threw a rock at me. And like, do you know how dumb that is? Like, I think that's where my embarrassment comes from, is I could have been killed from a fucking rock, bro. There's people getting shot out there and I got assaulted with a rock. Do you know how embarrassing that is?
Yeah. I also think that many people don't feel that they're going to be believed when they go to court. I mean, he had a motive. He blatantly said he wanted to kill you. I mean, he could have been charged with attempted murder, and there's criminal intent there. A lot of women, I feel like that's part of the dark figure of crime, is that a lot of women don't feel that they're believed in this situation. I mean, you look at how many people come back 20 years later. Maybe one person was like, oh yeah, so
look at this Me Too movement.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People, I mean, you look at Crosby. One person came forward saying he did this to me, and 20 other people came back. Well, now you just wanted a fame. Now you wanted attention. Now you wanted this, right? A lot of people don't feel that they're going to be believed, and then they have to kind of relive all that trauma. And a lot of people don't want to relive that trauma in court. I mean, I did tons of sexual assault cases, and looking back, knowing what I know now, you know, it's tough because you defend those people thinking that, I mean, here's the thing, it's a job. Everyone deserves their day in court. But it's tough because knowing what I know now, I look back and I can see this girl testifying in court about what she went through. And at the time, we thought he was innocent. And I look back and I'm like,
oh, that girl was drunk. She probably asked for it, but doesn't remember, you know,
yeah. But you're only seeing one side. And
you're only hearing one side of the story from the person that you're defending.
Yeah. And, you know, you look back and you're like, oh, that must have been so traumatizing to have to go through what she went through and now have to testify in court. And I think I know a lot of women don't want to testify. Well, there's a stigma behind it too.
But then what if you lose? How do you tell your friends? Like, I tried to charge this guy for rape, and they threw the book at me instead of him. They told me I was wrong because I wanted to have a good time with my friends.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Well, women are so perceived as, oh, you wore a mini skirt. Oh, you wore a spaghetti strap. Oh, you wore a little bit... You had cleavage showing, and all of a sudden you're asking for it. Well, just because I went out with my friends does not mean that I'm asking for it. I did not consent to being potentially
touched
raped
in that manner, or you know, like, and just because I'm wearing a short skirt doesn't mean I want you to slap my ass.
No. So I think a lot of these old school judges, this is my opinion, this is not a fact, this is my opinion, it's a boys club in law, and the judges are older, so they have a different generational belief than what our current generations would, right? I think they very much have the belief of you wore a
short skirt, so you were asking for it. Like, half your boobs were out because you were wearing a V-neck top, or you were wearing a spaghetti strap. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you wanted that guy to grab your titties.
You wanted the attention. Like, yeah. But that's obviously not the case. I mean, women go out and they want to feel good about themselves, so they dress. I mean, don't get me wrong, some women do it to show off.
Nowadays especially, but...
Yeah. But I think majority of the time, and I think, you know, as generations go on, a lot of women are decentering men. And so they're getting dressed up for themselves. But there is that perceived notion that when you dress up as a female, you're asking for it.
But I do think that a woman needs to trust her intuition. And that would be in all social places, whether you're out at the bar, whether you're
going out for dinner,
movies. The movie theaters are so dark. Like,
yeah, good point.
You know, like...
And that's the least expecting that I'm never expecting a movie theater because I'm going there to watch a movie. But just walking in general.
That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
Walking home, minding my own damn business. And let me tell you how glad I am that I didn't make it all the way home before this actually happened. Because then this guy would have known where I lived.
Yeah, good point.
But I guess this kind of takes us to like when girls go out as groups to the bar to do things together. Like, let me tell you, when I go out with my friends and I'm like, oh, hey Santana, I have to go pee. Come to the bathroom with me. And buddy system, and
it's still relevant to today.
It is, absolutely. And I think
doesn't matter what age.
No, and I think that's where things are. Like, we do that to keep each other safe.
But I also think that we talk about the date rape drug, which I think it's so easy to slip it in someone's drink, but between alcohol and these new drugs that they're able to make less noticeable, it's so easy to drug somebody. And I think that's where it comes into play, is the buddy system, is when you're going to the bar, when you're getting drinks with friends, when you're doing something, like, always make sure that your drink's covered, always make sure that you're looking out for your friends and you're just aware. And I think that a lot of women and young girls, we were taught to not be rude. We were taught to be polite. And I think because of that, we are afraid to say no to men. We're afraid to come off as not nice. And when we're being...
In this situation, I don't even think it's men alone. I think in general, we were taught to be polite.
Yeah.
Because even women can be fucking assholes in the bar, and they might not be sexually assaulting us, but they have no problem throwing a fist if you're doing something that they don't like,
that they feel threatened with. I think if a man or somebody comes up to us and makes comments, we sort of laugh it off because we don't want to be not polite versus actually holding our boundaries strong. But I mean, we look at the Epstein files. Women can be part of trafficking women, and not everyone's a girl's girl. Right?
Nowadays, there's taxis, and let me tell you, there was not a time when I was younger, even in bigger cities when I would go out, that I was worried about it. There was not once where I got in a taxi and I was like, this guy could take me to a back road and dump me out there or murder me. And because those were the guys that were supposed to get you home safe, you know? Mm-hmm. I think nowadays, Uber became a thing. I don't know what they need to go through to be able to drive you around. Do they have to go through a screening system? I have no idea.
I think they do. I don't know. Here's the thing. As someone who is super interested and passionate about law, I have been exposed, and I've also opened myself up to actually seeing the bad parts of the world, and I'm very much more protective of myself and my friends. So I think more about my surroundings and the worst case scenarios, my exits. How do I deal with a situation if said scenario were to arise? So I've never taken taxis. I've never been in a taxi, actually. And I'm not comfortable with Ubers because I don't know how they get registered. I just Googled this so we can maybe put our mind at ease a little bit. As Uber drivers, let's just put this out there. You have to be at least 21 years old to drive, has to have a clean title. You have to have proof of a Canadian passport, birth certificate, or permanent resident card, and you have to pass background screenings. Criminal driving record. This check reviews your history for serious offenses and major driving violations. And you just need a vulnerable sector check. I feel like this is probably the safest way to go. Well, it's good to know that they actually have some screening background.
I've taken plenty of Ubers by myself. Mm-hmm. Only once have I been uncomfortable in an Uber. I got him to drop me off at a male friend's house, and I made that male friend meet me outside and come to the door of the Uber. And not that I thought this guy was gonna do anything shady, I just...
Trust your gut.
I would recommend not traveling alone when you can, but when I do have to Uber alone, I have my location on for specific friends.
We just wanted to share a few statistics because once you see how common this really is, it becomes obvious why we need everyone, especially men, to kind of step up and hold each other accountable. But before we go any further, these numbers are not meant to scare anyone. They're just here to ground the conversation in reality and show just how widespread that this issue is. These statistics that I am about to share come straight off the StatsCan website. This was released in 2024. So sexual assault is a gendered crime. 89% of victims are women and girls. 97% of accused are men and boys. For every 1,000 sexual assault cases that were reported to police, 640 did not lead to charges. 141 led to charges, and for every 1,000 physical assault cases reported to police, 499 did not lead to charges, and 102 did lead to charges. So there's a big gap between those that were reported, what charges came about, and what did not result in charges. Anyways, before we wrap up, we kind of just wanted to say that these conversations can't just be for women or survivors. Men are also part of this conversation. They're part of this world. They're part of these relationships and part of these communities.
And honestly, a lot of men have been assaulted too. This isn't a woman versus man thing. It's a let's stop letting harm slide thing. We need men to hold other men accountable.
Yeah, because you're also part of the solution. Like when your friend makes a joke that isn't funny, or kind of when someone crosses a boundary and you kind of just say like, hey man, that's not cool. But you know, at least we know that Lacey didn't lose her personality when she got her shit kicked.
Someone knocked the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that stayed.
We just kind of want a world where everyone kind of feels safe walking home, safe in their relationships, and most importantly, in their bodies.
It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. The conversations you have, the boundaries you set, and the people you check.
Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take care of the people who don't know how to ask for help yet. Most importantly, don't let them rocks get you.
All right, bitch. Clearly, we can't be too serious for too long. Anyways, we will see you guys next episode for, well, just back to our regular shenanigans.
Love you. Bye.